Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm Dark Jack, and in this video I'm showing you highlights of two games where I go 36-0 and 64-7 on Yemen. And what I want to talk about in this gameplay is why Black Ops 2 has horrible netcode. Now when I say netcode, I'm not just talking about the lag and the lag compensation. And lag refers to the delay between when you press a button on your controller and by the time the game registers it. And lag compensation is where the game puts a delay into the connection of the person who's host, so that way it tries to balance the game out so that the host does not have such a big advantage. And what netcode is netcode is not lag or lag compensation. It refers to the connection that each players have to each other and how they relate to each other. And what Call of Duty uses is something called peer-to-peer networking, or P2P networking, rather than dedicated servers. And what peer-to-peer networking is, it's that one of the people who's playing is the host of the game, so their Xbox or PS3 acts as the host, it acts as the server, and all the other Xboxes or PS3s connect to that one. And that one determines what is true and what is false. So from the perspective of the person who is the host, if their console is the host console, then what that means is that perception is reality. Now what they have done is they have added lag compensation to the game, so there is a delay for the person who is the host. So it can actually be a disadvantage rather than an advantage. Now what dedicated servers are is that rather than one of the consoles being the host, the game uses a server or a supercomputer with a high upload and download speed that's located at a place that is near where the players are who are playing. And that acts as the host rather than a player. So when you have a dedicated server, there are no host migrations, because the host, which is a computer, never quits out of the game. Whereas when you have people playing, you have host migrations and failures to migrate because of host dashboarding when you have peer-to-peer networking. In Call of Duty at least. It's not true of other peer-to-peer games like Halo or parts of Gears of War. And there are advantages and disadvantages of each system. In the peer-to-peer system, because you don't have to have dedicated servers, it's less expensive for the developer. And the developer can make more money because they don't have to pay for computers to act as servers. But there are many disadvantages of not having dedicated servers, because with peer-to-peer, in Call of Duty, if the host leaves the game without pressing quit, if they sign out, or if they go to the dashboard or the crossbar menu, it means the game will end for everyone, and everyone will get a loss, and that really sucks. But with dedicated servers, you don't have to worry about the game lagging, because the person who's host has a slow upload speed. Because a dedicated server has a high upload and download speed, you don't have to worry about the game lagging because of a bad connection of the host. Even though there is still lag if your individual connection is not very good. But if you have a good internet connection, then you almost never have to worry about a bad lag or a bad connection, because it's not your problem. If it is a problem, it's a problem with a dedicated server and not you. And so games like Battlefield use dedicated servers. And the disadvantages of a dedicated server are that the dedicated server can be attacked, and people can do things like they can do DDoS it, and if they attack it, then the game goes down for everyone. Whereas with peer-to-peer networking, if the host is hit offline, then it only affects him and not everyone else. Also, because dedicated servers are expensive, when the multiplayer population goes down, it means that they turn the server off, so you can't play multiplayer anymore. Whereas with peer-to-peer, you can always play multiplayer even if not very many people are playing. So with the game Medal of Honor, which is an EA game, Medal of Honor uses dedicated servers like Battlefield, but EA has announced that they're going to shut down the dedicated servers for Medal of Honor because not very many people play it. And it costs too much money to host the dedicated servers when not very many people bought the game. So the best solution is to have both. A game should have both peer-to-peer and dedicated servers, so when the online gaming population goes down, they can switch back to peer-to-peer instead of having to pay for dedicated servers. And so in Call of Duty, because they do not use dedicated servers, it means that when the host always leaves, and if the host dashboards, it ends the game for everyone. Whereas that's not true of other peer-to-peer games, and I don't know why that is. And the reason why Call of Duty does not use peer-to-peer, dedicated servers instead of using its peer-to-peer system They don't do that because it would cut deeply into their profit margin. And Activision is a game that has shareholders, and they're trying to maximize their profit for their shareholders. And if they use dedicated servers, it would cost them tens of millions of dollars. And they don't want to do that because it would cost too much money for them. Even though they could afford to do it, they're not going to do it because it would cut into their profit margins too much. But PC gamers for Call of Duty do get dedicated servers. And the reason why that is because the PC Call of Duty community has a much smaller population. So it's less expensive, and because PC gamers would not buy the game if it did not have dedicated servers. Because PC gamers are, at least from my perspective, they're pretty stuck up, and they can be arrogant, and they can act as if they're the PC gamer master race. And PC gamers will complain and they won't buy games unless it has dedicated servers. So they're pretty much forced to get dedicated servers for them, whereas console players don't know any better. They don't know the difference between dedicated servers and peer-to-peer, whereas PC gamers do understand the difference, and they understand how good dedicated servers are. And so in Call of Duty, when you're playing with a full party in Black Ops, you never get host. It always gives host to the team that is not in the party. And so the reason why I chose this first gameplay is because the host migrates all the time, and then the game finally ends because the network crashes, or the host dashboards. And they do that for balance reasons. They give host to the side that is not in a party or a full team. And after the host migrates, it almost always gives the other team host after the host migration. And it gets really annoying and frustrating when the host always migrates, and then the host dashboards when you're doing really well and you get a loss. That's why I have so many losses, because of the host dashboarding. And then it's also really annoying when you're in the pregame lobby and then it kicks everyone from the lobby. It usually happens after a game that's really one-sided. The game will kick everyone for balance reasons to try to prevent boosting. And when the host is migrating in the pregame lobby, usually it'll kick everyone or I'll kick half the people. So you'll be in a lobby with 9 people, then the host will migrate and you'll lose half your team. So you'll have to back out and get everyone again and then go back in. And it's really annoying to deal with when you lose everyone or you lose half your team. And it's also annoying when not everyone gets into a game. If you're playing a game, the game starts, and then 1 or 2 people will not be able to get into the game. Then you'll have to back out of the lobby and then pick them up again. And it also gets annoying when the host migrates in the game, and then it kicks a bunch of people. So not only will the host leave, but a bunch of people on your team will leave as well. They'll get kicked as a result of the host migration. And often when you play, the game will choose a bad host, so the game is laggy, because someone on the other team has to be host instead of your team if you're playing with a party. And then once the host leaves, they'll give the host to someone else on the other team, and then they'll just get kicked because they have a bad connection. So the game will be really laggy for 1 or 2 minutes, and you'll die a bunch because of lag, and then the host will finally migrate. And that makes the game really frustrating to play when you have all these host migrations because of all the quitting and all the people who don't have connections that are good enough to host Ground War. So hopefully in the next generation of console gaming they fix these problems, and my hope and prayer for Black Ops 3 is that they finally fix these problems and they make it so that the host migrates even if the host dashboards. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys later.